Hey everybody, it's me, Moon and Papa, and I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay and that the stream is running all right. So there's a little bit of a delay on my end because this time I have enabled closed captions. So if you would like to see what YouTube does with doing a live captioning of whatever I'm saying, you can go ahead and click the live captions on the channel page. Yep. Okay. So go ahead and just let me know in the chat if things look okay. Great. Thank you, Juan. Sorry, it does take a little bit of time. So first off, let me say a big happy welcome to you. Happy New Year. This is the first of many more live streams to come for YouTube. My plan is to do a live stream every week at this time. So for me, it's confusing because this is actually Thursday at 11 a.m. But it looks to me like most of my subscribers are in the United States. And by the way, if you're not a subscriber already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I just crossed 20K subscribers. Yay. And if you like these live streams and you want me to keep doing them, please hit the like button. That would also help out this channel a lot. So just to go over a couple of particulars. Again, well, this is how I see my channel, but anyway, you get the idea. So feel free to subscribe and like this video. So our current video that's live right now is this one. I'm not going to click on it, but I do have these other ones that are set up for the future. So if you want to join me for the next one and you don't want to miss it, go ahead and hit the set reminder button, and that way you'll get notified of the next live stream. Before we get started too, I just want to let you guys know that on the bettertraders.com, we have a special crypto success package that we're running right now. And essentially what it is it's a combination of our advanced courses plus one-on-one sessions with me. And this is really to help you get a better grasp on 2022. And I can tell you now, 2022 is not going to be the smooth sail that everyone was hoping it would be, as I'll talk about later. So if you want some help getting some support along the way, not just one time, but 4 times throughout the year on a quarterly basis, meeting with me one-on-one, you're going to want to check out the website, bettertraders.com, especially for these crypto success packages. And you can look at that stuff later. You don't have to watch me talk. Okay. And if you are Discord savvy, I have a fantastic Discord server that you guys can join. Lots of different channels to talk about the signals that I have on 3 commas, as well as just hanging out in general. So if you haven't joined the Discord server, you can do that in the description down below. Now that I've gotten those things out of the way, what's happening? So the fun part about living in another part of the world, being asleep while everyone in the US is awake during the day, is you miss out on crazy events like what happened today. So the Fed hinted at the fact that they could and most likely will raise interest rates this year. Now, this may not make a lot of sense if you don't understand what this entails, but essentially they've kept interest rates really low for a while, actually, since the 2020 pandemic was in full force when it really started in March 2020. And interest rates have been like 0.25% since then. The fear is that once the Fed raises interest rates, that could potentially start a recession in the market. It's no surprise to you that the markets have been super bullish for a long time. And I'm not even talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about the traditional markets. The S&P has been on a tear ever since 2020. This is just the daily time frame, but we could even zoom out to get a much better picture that we haven't really had a significant correction for quite a while. Honestly, since 2008, that was the real recession that we had. I'm not expecting anything like that, but we haven't seen anything happen since this event. So the Dow as well. Oh, I thought I saved it up here. The Dow also has just been on a huge tear. Everything is just rosy posy, and it's amazing that the Dow hasn't really reacted to the news. That was, oh, sorry, this is the weekly. Here we go, daily. So now it's reacting today, and today it's down 1%, which isn't that bad comparatively because it does this pretty often. But it still doesn't make me happy for my outlook on Bitcoin. So before I even get to that, oh, I realized that I don't have any background music. So I forgot. There we go. If you guys don't like the background music, I can definitely turn it off for the next one. But I think sometimes people like the background music. So it's no surprise that the market's red because of this news. Bitcoin has actually been struggling to keep its head above water after going sideways for a good month. It's been staying in a boxed range, and it finally broke 45K and fell below this trend line. So much for a bump and run scenario. That is out the window, which is why it's a dotted line. Honestly, all of this happened back here when this trend line from July 20th that was supported here on the 21st of September all the way up, it was broken here on the 20th of November. I missed this completely. December 3rd and December 4th should have been no surprise because this trend line, this upward trend line was broken. That started the real downtrend, and this is where we currently are. So a couple of things to also take note of. We did have rising support for our RSI level, which is great, but it's been broken. So it's been invalidated, and RSI is no longer bullish. It's not growing. One thing that is good in regards to the market, just Bitcoin, is that it did fall down here to the 42K level. This is specifically for Binance. So the low for the period is 42,500 yesterday. And we're seeing a very tentative, very unsure market. You can tell that there's a huge difference from December 4th and yesterday's close. The reason why it's a huge difference is because this was a huge sell-off, and this lower wick was very strong, 14%, but then it recovered. The problem now is that it's been a slow grind down. So if you watched my live stream with the Trading Parrot back in December, I basically said that what I expect to have happen is an echo of what happened in May, which is a long, drawn-out event where we'll see the price fall down probably to 30K. I didn't want that to happen, but that's what I said would happen. And that looks to be what we're seeing right now. Not exactly, but pretty much the same. So let's look at it one way. Let's take this range right here. So we have this range in this time period from, we'll just say it's May, so June, July, so 2-month period. So this 2 months period, we're going to see Bitcoin do the same thing where it's going to move in this boxed range for 2 months. That means that we're going to be somewhere here until February 4th. We're going to be in this sideways crab range if 42K holds. If we're going to do a replay of what happened before. I pretty much am believing that this is what we're going to see. I don't expect, I'll say this is the bullish scenario. I don't think that we're going to just make a V-shaped recovery right away, like these V-shaped recoveries, like this kind of recovery, like this kind of recovery. We're not at that level right now at all. If anything, we are mid-bearish or just straight up bearish, which isn't good. It's not what you want to hear, but I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you what I see. So here's the thing. If Bitcoin can close green for the day, and don't worry about this trend line, it's broken, so just I'll just hide it. We're just not going to see it right now because it's not helpful. So if Bitcoin can close green for the day and come back up to reclaim 45K, then we're good. We're actually in really good shape. But if news continues to come out and the Fed actually says, no, we're not going to do a rate hike starting in March, we're going to do it next week, you better believe that this is going to fall. So why did these sell-offs happen with the Fed interest rate hike? I could be wrong with what I say, so please don't take what I say as gospel. Even though I'm wearing green and I am a bull by nature, I do love to see bullish markets. I mean, Moon and Papa, when a chart is moving, it's moving up and to the right. So I do like those scenarios. But if the Fed does move up this interest rate, it's going to scare off investors. It's going to probably incite a recession, or not incite. It's probably going to start a recession. So what does that mean for Bitcoin? I'm still doing some research and reading on this, but what I can tell you now in the most general sense is that Bitcoin is not impervious to a recession or to corrections. And if you think that because Bitcoin is gold 2.0 and because Goldman Sachs said Bitcoin's going to $100,000 this year, just for a minute there, think about what Goldman Sachs said about, or JP Morgan even said about Bitcoin back in 2018. They said it was basically the same as Buffett, rat poison, but they were actually buying. So when we see all of these big funds saying it's going to go up to $100,000, should we really believe what they're saying? Or should we take it as a counter trend indicator? I'm not trying to fashion a tin hat and get you all nervous about anything, but you've got to take the news with what it is. You can't just try to look at this with a rosy picture. And that's what I'm trying to do for you. So ultimately, I'm not excited about what's happening. I'm not bullish on what's happening at all. But the most bullish situation, or the bullish outcome, would not be a recovery and just shooting up to $100,000, which I don't think is going to happen. The best thing that we can see happen is we stay in this boxed range until early February. That would be great. If we can hold above 40K and the TBO, which is what we're looking at here, even though it says TBO Pro, it's essentially still the TBO. On the daily, we have strong support here at $40,000, which makes sense because it's a nice round number. So here's the bearish situation, and you're not going to want to hear this. And in order to show this better, I need to bring out my fibs. So my Fibonacci retracements, this is what I did actually with the live stream that I had with the trading parrot. So let me hide these trend lines so that way it's just super duper clear. So what I said is that according to this fib line, we really needed to break above the 618, above 50K. If we break above 50K and then continue on to 52, then we're solid. We're okay. There's nothing to worry about at all. But if we get rejected at 618, then that means that we could be seeing Bitcoin fall down, and this is our super bearish outcome to 36K. This would be our first point of strong resistance, in my opinion. And if what I'm expecting is to hit 36K and to make a move up. Now, this would be really weird, and it would break the structure of what we saw before. But as you probably know by now, Bitcoin often does what we least expect. So if we're hoping that this rectangular shape holds, that's bullish. If it breaks below 42K and it comes down to 40K and it doesn't hold here, the next stop, I'm telling you, is 36. And if that doesn't hold, the next stop is 30K. So what do you do with information like this? You're probably wondering. If you have positions in profit at this point, can't tell you what to do because I forgot to show you the disclaimer at the beginning of the live stream. But I can tell you that what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I am securing any profits, and I have secured profits since the market has turned bearish. So at this point, if you're using 3 commas and you think that the market is going to go very bearish, but you don't want to sell everything, you would rather try to rebuy it at a lower price, you might be better off using a short bot or smart cover, which is on the smart trade terminal. This is a very risky time to be using a grid bot, because a grid bot, you're hoping that it stays in a horizontal range, but for most of the charts I'm looking at, they're mostly heading down, which isn't good. So be careful about opening any long positions right now. And speaking of long positions, let's go over to my browser, and I just want to look at a couple of bits and pieces over here. So no duh, fear and greed index is at 15, which is extreme fear. It's been very fearful for the last month. That's not a surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise to you either. Bitcoin liquidations have been pretty steady. We're looking here at CoinGlass. So if we're looking at the liquidation side, no duh that the majority of liquidations have all been long positions. I've talked about this actually a lot in the Better Traders Club, which is a private Discord server, which has live streams that I go into way more depth. So I have to be careful that I don't do too much here. But I've talked about this before. This isn't the time to enter a leveraged position on Bitcoin and to put a leveraged long right here and just hope that it's going to shoot up to, putting your 100x or 50x or 20x leverage position here. Don't do that, because the main reason for this fall, the reason why it cascaded so much and so much more than the S&P, remember, the S&P only fell 1.92% yesterday. And I'm looking at this percentage right here. And when I look at the Dow Jones, it's essentially the same thing. Well, today we're down 1%. So the reason why Bitcoin's falling more is because it's a much more volatile market. And there's also a liquidation cascade. So this is what we saw essentially on December 4th. People expecting to buy the dip with their long positions, but those long positions got liquidated across the board, ending up in a total of $1.58 billion liquidated. And I can tell you the only people that were happy were the people that run the exchanges. So be careful. Don't try to buy the dip with leverage. That's just foolishness. And we can see that people are doing that. They've been doing it since the 28th of December. And we've had $637 million in longs wiped out. Not a good thing. So you've got to make sure that if you want to buy anything, you're just going to use spot. Don't use leverage. Good grief. I think if anyone has been trading with leverage and you've gotten burned, I think you should just take a break from leverage. It's that easy. This is what I was supposed to show you when I was talking about the Fed hiking up the rates. So you can see here since March 2020, the Fed rate dropped to basically 0.25%, and it's been that low ever since. So now they're starting to raise it. So I'm not expecting anything crazy, but note that in times of desperation, the Fed does raise the rate if they have to. So, they've raised it to as high as 11.5% back in 1984. Now, some of you weren't born then. I was. Not in 84, before then. Oh, yes. Here, 15%. At 20%. So if you look at the charts and look at these dates to see what was happening in the world at this time, why did they have to raise it so much? You can see that we've had it good for a while. We've had the rate under 10% for a couple decades. It's been really good. And the market's been running wild, which we obviously know. So now it's time to figure out what happens next. Now, as much as I like you guys, I can't give you the full details on everything, because that's something that I have to make sure that I keep separate, and I have to remember that I'm not in a Better Traders Club live stream, which I'll have next week, which I'll talk more in depth about this. But what I can tell you is that the two scenarios hold out. If we're going to stay bullish, Bitcoin has to move sideways. But if we break 42 and go down to 40, then we're just going to keep moving down. So be cautious, be careful. A couple of other things I'd like to show you. I'm going to go over to the browser again. Is over here on bettertrader.io. The Better Crypto Scanner is a free scanner that you can use to identify volatility across the markets. It's showing volatility on a rolling 24-hour period. Let me make this a little bit brighter so you can see. So if we just pop over to KuCoin, which will have the most volatility, and we jump to the USDT market, I bet you that we're going to see a ton of craziness. So what I have, wow, I just need to warm up or something. So I set up my filters as such to look at KuCoin from my exchange, the USDT market, for a good reason. I'll show you why. I want to look at a spread that's greater than 20% because I want to look for a really large spread, which is looking at the low and the high, that range. And the measurement of the low to the high is 126% for Galaxy 3, which is a leveraged token, no surprise. So I just want to look at the top 10. For one, when there are moments like this, with the market being crazy bearish, do not be surprised on exchanges that have leveraged tokens that the majority of the tokens here are, in fact, leveraged tokens. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other ones. So HNT, which I believe is Helium. Oh, they just got listed. So be careful. I think we saw it on Binance. So even though Helium has a crazy spread, that's just because it got listed. Let's check out VEED. There we go. So I wanted to, oh, good grief. That's fun. There we go. What I wanted to do as well, and this is something that I can at least give you a little bit of hope in regards to the market. Here's the thing. Just because the market is overall turning bearish and we could go into a recession this year, even though that's happening, doesn't mean that there are no trades to be made. Case in point, the scanner helped me to recognize this chart. So VEED USDT on KuCoin got pumped yesterday while I was out downtown in Shibuya, and it pumped 110%. And it's had a little bit of a pump right there too. There will always be opportunities to make some money in these markets. Just because the overall market is bearish doesn't mean that there are no opportunities. And that's why the Better Crypto Scanner is available. It's a free resource. You can use it to identify tokens that have a huge spread, and maybe you're not on KuCoin, maybe on Binance, we want to identify charts that may be great for entries on the Ethereum market. We want to see which tokens have really gone crazy. So let's go ahead and check out Voxel ETH on Binance. Just got listed, not fair. Let's check out eGold, that's the next one. Just got listed, not fair. Internet Computer just got listed, not fair. Wow, they brought back Funfair. There we go. Okay, this is at least, so this is the fourth one on the list, and it's not uncommon. It's not like this is going to show me the perfect chart at the top, but at least we're looking at the best ones, the ones with the most volatility on the Ethereum market on Binance. That's really what I want to look at because, as you know, the best trades that you can make are on the most volatile moments of the market, even now. But we're looking at alternative markets as the markets are going topsy-turvy. So Ethereum, it's had a spread of 20%. And we can see that, yeah, no duh. it had a little bit of a fun pump right there. New Year's fun pump, and it's just had another one. Just because the market is feeling bearish doesn't mean that there isn't money to be made. So I want to give one last tip about this this realization. Maybe for some of you, this is just like, what? And you're getting excited. One thing to keep in mind, if the market value of Bitcoin and Ethereum is falling, it's not uncommon to see some alt charts, like super low volume alt charts or super low market cap charts, move up. Like this one, Funfair, is really low. Just because the price is moving up and you will be making more Ethereum on your trades, if the value of Ethereum is dropping in the real world fiat currency, yes, you're accumulating more Ethereum, but you're accumulating more of a depreciating asset for the time being. So I just want to say that one more time, because I think for some people, this is going to help bring some clarity, especially with your vision for 2022. If you are looking to accumulate more Bitcoin and Ethereum, or KuCoin shares, or not KuCoin shares anymore, but KCS, the KuCoin token, or whatever, like BNB, more exchange tokens, but the value of those tokens are falling this year, and there will always be pumps and stuff. As you accumulate more of those tokens, the value of them will still continue to drop, even if you've doubled your Ethereum stack and the value of Ethereum is dropping 10% every day. The perceived fiat, the perceived real world cash currency for those tokens is going to be falling as well. There's nothing wrong with this, but you've just got to understand that it's okay to accumulate these tokens in a falling market. But with that said, you have to also start accumulating with the mindset that you are accumulating for the next run. Now, when is that next run going to be? Do I think this run is over? This is like the last thing that I'll talk about. And then I think that I'll just wrap this one up for today. I don't think that our market is completely finished yet. It has a lot to do with this interest rate hike. It has a lot to do with the S&P and the Dow Jones, the United States, and how the markets go. And it has a lot to do with Bitcoin holding its price. So if things turn out to be not as bad as we think, and Bitcoin stays sideways, we're good. And I think the rally can continue, and it's going to take longer, but it's looking like it'll be harder and harder for Bitcoin to hit $100,000 this year, to me, because of this new bearish sentiment and the fact that it's not going away. Because once the Fed starts to raise interest rates, it's not like they just raise it once. They're going to do it again and again. And that could put pressure on the markets, and people will feel less excited to participate in the market because everyone has been excited about investing. And if you've noticed anything, that retail interest in crypto is starting to drop. So if you're still in at this point, you're essentially where I was when I jumped into crypto back in late 2017, where it was very exciting. And I started to accumulate through the ups and through the downs with the sole purpose of making my profits in the moment that we were last year. I'm not saying we're all done, but you have to have a long-term perspective of where do you want to end up? The last thing I'll say, if you've ever treated the market like it's a vending machine or an ATM, today is probably going to be the biggest lesson you can learn. If you don't have the PDF version of the Better Traders Journal, and the reason why I say this is because each page gives you a journaling space for you to write down your thoughts and ideas and reactions to the market. You should have just a piece of paper, have something where you can write down your emotions for the day, because it'll be interesting for you to review the market performance today and your entry to see how did what you recorded measure up to what happens next. So I hope this isn't like going too weird for anybody, but I think it's really important that we don't get caught up in the mania and in the hype, that we take profits on the way up, as I've talked about, that we protect our portfolios at all costs, that we're satisfied with any amount of profit. So again, I don't think we're all over for Bitcoin, but we've seen happier days with BTC. So to recap for all of you that are joining in late, this is what I am hoping for in our best scenario. Bitcoin stays in this boxed range, and then around the beginning of February, it breaks out of this and we continue moving up in a similar structure to what we saw here in the summer. This would be a great scenario because we know how it played out. The bearish scenario is we break below this box and first stop 40K, next stop 37K, and last stop 30K. It's not going to happen all at once. It's going to take time to fall, and it wholly depends on what is happening in the traditional markets, which is important for you to keep an eye on the S&P for today and on the Dow Jones. So just be careful, okay? I'm happy that you guys are with me today. I'm happy that you guys are enjoying this live stream. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, the like button, to let other people know that you're digging this and that people will catch me for the next live stream. So I think that's about it for today. I don't want to go too much more in depth because I don't want to be too overwhelming. But I think for now, it's just good to have a level-headed view of what the market is showing us right now. So don't panic, but try to just, if you are panicking, just step away from everything, take a walk, take a night off, and just think about what do you want to do next? What's your long-term vision for crypto and your investments? And whatever you decide, just stick with that decision and be happy with whatever decision that is, because ultimately crypto is the future. And I think a lot of companies have already realized that in 2021. It's just not ever going to be a straight and up and to the right scenario. So keep your wits about you, stay calm, cool, collected, and stay awesome, and stay in the green.